Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you may be listening to this episode of the Pocket Jacks podcast. We're bringing it back here with week 12, episode 13 of the show. I can't believe we're this far in, Jack.
Yeah, no, what a great season we've been, and just jumping straight into last week, I think right off the bat, my favorite moment of the entire year was that Indiana touchdown, the drive, the catch, the call from Gus Johnson, the call from the ref not taking the moment away. It was a great week. What were your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I love that game. Mendoza, last drive down the field. There's 90 seconds left in the ball game. They have no timeouts and they have to go 90 yards. And he goes like 7 for 8, converts on a huge like 2nd and 20. Just looks amazing. And then obviously catch of the year candidate with that game winning touchdown from that kid in the back of the end zone with the ultimate toe tap. That was awesome. And then I mean that call, the call was great from Gus Johnson. That actually is kind of one of the questions I had, and it was, do you think that Joel Klatt and Gus Johnson are the best duo in announcing for this year, or I don't know, wherever you rank them?
That's a great question because I love talking about the announcers. I still have Gus the Bus and Klatt at number one. My only complaint about them is they're always on like the day game, which sometimes isn't the best game, sometimes it is the best game. But they're my clear number one, and then I'd put Herb Street and Fowler at two. And I do like Sean McDonough. I don't Is he with Jesse Palmer? I'm not sure who he's with, but Gus the Bus is awesome. Maybe a little crazy on the Heisman call there. Give him the Heisman now. I don't been seeing a lot of controversy about that, but oh, that was so good. That was just classic Gus the Bus.
Yeah, I those two. It's funny because we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago. You were watching one game on TV, and I was watching the game that had Joel Klatt and Gus Johnson. And I don't remember what week this
Yep.
was or what game it was, but you'd switch back between the two channels, and it's like one moment these guys are screaming, bringing all the energy in the world, and then you go to the other channel, and these guys just Debbie Downers. Just it's just so sad. Like two different vibes of football for sure, but depends what you like. Some people like just the stats and the facts, and they don't need any of the extracurricular energy. But I love that. I think that's what college football is all about.
Yeah, I like a guy just screaming his voice out. Also, I know exactly what game you were talking about. Klatt and Bus, they were on Michigan, Wisconsin, which wasn't even a great game. And then the ESPN game was like a top 15 matchup. And you would have thought by listening to the call that Michigan, Wisconsin was 1v2. So those guys are just the best.
Yeah. The other game everyone I think loved was Oregon. I mean, we didn't get to watch most of it because the damn Grizz took up the CBS local channel, so didn't really get to see much of it. But then saw the end of the Oregon game, probably the last I don't know 5 or so minutes, and it was absolutely thriller from what I saw.
Yeah, it was just the total old fashioned Big Ten game. And one of the teams, Oregon, is like the most opposite of that style, which I think made it even better. Just seeing both teams pretty much only running the ball. Oregon's receivers were beat up. Iowa still they're figuring out the forward pass, but God, that was great. And I had Iowa as my dog. It looked like it had hope there, and then Dante Moore rips my heart out at the end. But it was one of those I couldn't even be too upset just because it was that great of a game.
Yeah, and we did well in that game. We had quite a few things cash.
Yeah,
The under, the spread. Unfortunately, we didn't get Jack's dog in that game, but yeah, that was a good game to us for sure. What else was
yeah.
there? I
And
mean, the
then
best bets this week. Oh, go ahead.
the last thing I was going to talk about is just an awful weekend for the ACC with Louisville and Virginia going down to Louisville loses to Cal as a 20-point favorite. Virginia loses to Wake Forest, I think is like 14-point favorite. So the ACC is kind of taking that old Pac-12 adage where they're just cannibalizing themselves and it's not always the best teams that are winning. I thought the most surprising part about those two losses, both of them, both Virginia and Louisville, were at home. So it's just
Yeah,
total
and I
upsets out
noted
of
that
nowhere.
down as we talked about the ACC last week and how we thought maybe Louisville or Virginia could have been ranked higher. Uh, but then right after we say that, they lose in crazy fashion as huge favorites, like you said. And all of a sudden, the ACC is wide open. I mean, you've got Georgia Tech, I think, that is kind of holding that top spot in everybody's eyes. But realistically, it's wide open at the end of the day. And I mean, Duke going down to not a conference game in UConn, but still losing. I think they're 4 losses now. They could still make a conference championship and get in the playoffs with 4 losses, I think, right? Is that crazy?
It is crazy because if they win the conference championship, all that is required is the top 5 ranked conference championships. There's no like technical G5 spot, even though it's just we always think of it as the G5 spot. So it's crazy to think there's even a chance where Duke may not be the 5th best conference champion. Now I don't think that's going to happen, but it's at least a conversation.
Yeah, it's weird, and that's going to be fun how it plays out. Obviously, I think we're kind of leaning to that the ACC will only get one team in, and that will be the conference
Yep.
champion, uh, which is kind of something that I was wondering out of you. How many teams will go through the conferences here, starting with SEC? How many teams do you think get in?
Yeah, well, the SEC, I think it's pretty clear they're going to get the most teams in out of all the conferences. I'd say you could say Texas A&M's a lock, Alabama's a lock, Ole Miss is probably a lock. They only play Florida and Mississippi State. Georgia is probably a lock. It's all between can Texas or Oklahoma get in for that 5th spot. I think it's 4 guaranteed, maybe 5. I'm honestly going to lean 5 for the SEC right now. It feels like that 2-loss team might get in.
Okay. Yeah, that would be crazy. I mean,
And
5 is a ton. We've got ACC at 1, which makes 6. Uh, we'll go to the Big
yep,
Ten. How many think get in the Big Ten?
I'm just seeing 3 right now. I'm seeing Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon. A team like USC could maybe make a push. Michigan can maybe make a push, but USC plays at Oregon. Michigan plays Ohio State still. I think they have them at home, but they're going to be big dogs in that game. I have a tough time seeing them winning out and getting in. So I'm going to go with Big Ten's got 3 locked in, not 4
Okay, and
this
then
year.
that brings us up to 9. You've obviously got the 1
Okay.
to make 10 for the group of 5, and then that would mean 2 out of the Big 12.
And I think that's about right because I would say Texas Tech is probably a lock at this point, even if they lose their conference championship game, assuming they don't win out or they do win out, assuming they don't drop a game. And then it feels like BYU or Utah is going to get in. What's your take on that? It seems like they're in a good spot to go right there. I mean, or is Notre Dame going to be kind of battling it out with those schools?
Well, I love that you brought that up because I like what the CFP did here this week. You had an undefeated BYU team that, they come into the game and they don't look good and they get absolutely throttled. That's, in my opinion, enough to move you down 4 or 5. Now, that they only have 1 loss, they're not undefeated anymore. They only have 1 loss. It's not 2 losses. If it's 2 losses, you're probably looking like 15, 16, looking on the outside in. But now that they only have 1 loss, I like that they keep them inside that top 12. I think that was a good move by them. A 1 loss team, that's kind of how my CFP goes here is you have the 3 teams at the top
Yep.
that are undefeated, and then followed by a long list of 1 loss teams, and then you get those 2 loss teams: the Notre Dame, the Texas, the Oklahoma. Um, so I love what the CFP did there by moving BYU down, but keeping them inside that top 12 with 1 loss.
Yeah, I think the CFP rankings, at least how I would have done them, is very clear. Like you said, you have your 3 undefeateds, then you have your 5, 6 5-ish one-loss teams, I think, and then it's your two-loss teams. It's very clear to me, and I think you and I are both a little higher on Georgia Tech than the CFP is, but I have them in that group as the one-loss teams. I have them as my bottom one-loss team, but we'll dive into our rankings here in a little bit. But I actually have a question before we jump into our rankings that I think will lead us right into it. I'm looking at the two-loss teams in let's see, in the ACC, the Big 12, and the Big 10 right now that are probably not going to make the conference championship. Those four being Miami, Utah, USC, or Michigan. Do you think any of those teams, if they win out, can get in the playoffs? Is it as simple as winning you're in, or do they need a little help?
Well, judging from kind of how many teams get in between each conference, I think that if USC wins out and beats Oregon, I think they're probably in. You get 3 out of the Big 10. You get the 2 conference games, the 2 teams that play in the conference championship, and then you get the third, and I think that's USC if they win out. And then, I mean, Miami's tough because Miami's going to have the same record of Notre Dame and will not have got in, maybe. I don't know. That's going to be really weird how that plays out because I think what's going to happen is they're both going to be 10-2. And then you have a head-to-head victory for Miami. How do you not put them in? But the CFP is like saying that Miami's pretty much not going to make it. Notre Dame's in, Miami's out. That's kind of how I view it right now, which is wild. 2 bad losses though for Miami. I mean, and they could still drop another one. Like they have not looked good at all. What other team did you say in there?
I had Utah and Michigan.
Oh, Utah. Yeah, Utah. I don't think if they don't make the conference championship, I don't think they're in. Michigan is another one that I looked at earlier, and you could make a strong case for them. I mean, if we're going back and forth between 5 and 4 teams in the SEC, maybe Michigan gets in if the SEC only gets 4. I don't know. It also it depends what USC does. I think for Michigan to get in, because if you have, I think USC has the head-to-head over Michigan. So if they both win out, then I think it goes to USC. Michigan probably doesn't get in. But if USC drops one to Oregon and Michigan does win out, then it probably goes to Michigan, I would say.
Yeah, it's the most hypothetical time of year. Everything's just a hypothetical. You're trying to draw it out. It's not going to play out how we think, but it's just fun to talk about. What if this? What if that? I mean, my what if is I don't think Texas is necessarily dead if they lose.
Yeah, I mean that's what the CFP brings. The official rankings, you can kind of see where the CFP's at. We talked about it last week with Florida, and it's like I just don't get it. Like they have Texas, a 2-loss team, with a loss to a 3-win team in Florida, and then Ohio State. But then you look at like Utah, and Utah has a loss to Texas Tech and BYU, who are both in the top 10. And it's like, how is the CFP valuing a loss over a 3-win Florida team less than Utah's 2 top 10 losses? I don't get that. That's weird.
Yeah. Well, should we jump into our rankings here?
Yeah, let's do it.
All righty. Well, I can start us off, and I think I like what we did last week with starting with our outside looking in. Before I start, I am putting the group of 5 team in at 12, so it's more of like a bracket rankings than the actual rankings. But for just missed for me on the group of 5, it's North Texas, Tulane, and James Madison. And then for our normal at-large spot, it's Utah, Oklahoma, and Texas. I still have on the outside looking in with 2 losses.
Okay. I like that. For me, I have Utah at 15, 14 Vandy, 13 Oklahoma. Now that I'm looking at this, I'm going to change this up here. 15 is going to be Vandy. 14 is going to be Oklahoma. 13 is going to be Texas.
Okay. All right. I like it. So we kind of are pretty similar there. I had Vandy just missing my just miss, if that makes sense. They were one out of being really close. But then I'll go with my next three here. I have South Florida as the kind of that fifth conference champion, and I really want South Florida because I think they are the G5 team that actually has the best chance of hanging in and maybe winning a game. And then I go Notre Dame to kind of be my top ranked 2-loss team. And then from there, I'm Georgia Tech as my lowest ranked 1-loss team, if that kind of makes sense.
Okay. That's number 10.
Yep.
Okay. Sweet. So 12 for me would be Utah. But since I'm putting a G5 school in there, I'm going to go South Florida. And then 11, I think you have Notre Dame, 2-loss team, but I don't know. I think that they just barely sneak in there right now. I know they're at 9, but barely sneak in. At 10, I'm going BYU. I think that BYU is a team now where if you start out here at 10, you can move up into those home on campus games by winning out and playing good for the rest of the season. But if you lose, you're out. So I like 10 there.
Yep. I like that. So do you have, I mean, we'll get into it, but do you have Georgia Tech above BYU right now, or are they below, not in your conversation currently?
I do have Georgia Tech above BYU as of right now, because I think my whole reasoning for that is that Georgia Tech is the number 1 in the ACC now. So I think and that's how I predict it. I predict them to win the ACC, so I have them higher than a team that might not win their conference. Which actually, if we go 8 and 9 here, 8 and 9 for me are interchangeable, and I've got Oregon and Georgia Tech. So that's what barely above BYU.
Okay, I got you. So they're all kind of interchangeable there. Yeah, and then I go 9 BYU for me, 8's Oregon, and then 7 get into kind of that chunk of SEC teams. I'm going Ole Miss at 7.
Okay. I go Texas Tech at 7 and Ole Miss at 6.
Okay, we got those flip flopped. I'm Texas Tech at 6.
All right. 5 Georgia.
Yep.
And then
agree.
4 Bama.
5 and 4. Yep. Yep. Those are just the
And
automatic
then,
5 right now.
And then I think this is where it changes for us. I had Indiana at 2 last week. I moved them down to 3 just because I know they won. You can still get an at-large bid. I don't think that's anything to punish you for at this point in the season. Everybody's going to have an off game. So I like how the CFP did that too, by not bumping them out of that top 4. And then I go Ohio State 2, Texas A&M 1. Texas A&M has looked great to me on paper. They have incredible wins. They had another great win last week on the road at Missouri. They're just, I mean, at this point, they are my favorite to win the national championship.
All right. Yep. And then I changed my top 3 up a little bit as well. I also moved Indiana to 3. Like you said, still a win. Doesn't kill them. It just moves them down a spot. They didn't play great against Penn State. And then I have Texas A&M at 2, and I'm keeping Ohio State at 1. Just defending national champions. It's hard for. I think they're all pretty interchangeable, but to the eye test, Ohio State just looked very dominant to me. But it's all going to play out. To me, 1 through 4 doesn't matter. The drop off is 4 to 5, getting that bye or not.
Yeah, and that's going to come down to, in my eyes, the SEC championship. So whoever wins that.
Well, I got a question for you here. We've been talking about national champions who could win it, and you're saying Texas A&M. And this question is kind of similar to the March Madness question, where it's like, which NBA player could you put on the shittiest team and they could win a national champion? Well, mine is if you take Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes at their current ability what is the worst college football team you can put them on where they could still win a national championship? And I have an answer written down after you go.
Okay. Let's see. I don't think it goes that low.
I don't even.
I think, gosh, I mean, let me look at the CFP rankings here.
I can give you my answer first if you want. Like a
Yeah, what do
starting
you
rank.
have?
I said Auburn because I think Auburn is absolutely loaded, but they're awful at QB. And I think if you took Josh Allen at his current ability and put him on Auburn, keep Hugh Freeze fired. They would win 5 games if Hugh Freeze was the coach. But give me Josh Allen and Auburn. It'd be crazy. He'd be balling
That
out there
would
with those
be.
receivers. Auburn's got better receivers than the Bills.
Yeah, I mean, God, I don't know. Maybe I'll go Florida. They got
All
talent.
right.
I'll
It's
go,
kind
I'll
of
go Florida.
it's an interesting one because it's not like
Yeah,
NBA where if you stuck Wembenyama on the team, he could just dominate. It's still such a team game in football.
yeah. The basketball's a lot different. The football, yeah, that's tough. I'll go Florida though, and just hope that their defense can just clamp,
I like it. It's kind of fun to think
or
about. I was just thinking about it
or
right
put
now.
them at
Shower thought.
nickel. Let them eat.
Yeah. Put Lamar, you get him at QB, running back, and safety.
um, I don't think I have. I mean, I have one more question if you want to get into it before we go to the slate of the weekend, which is a great slate, by the way. We've got 7 games to bring you. We're very excited for these games. College Game Day is going to Pittsburgh for Notre Dame. That's going to be fun. But I was wondering, what are your ACC rankings at this point in the season? After
Like
last
power
week with a
rankings sort of thing.
massacre in Louisville in Virginia, what are your rankings?
I got to go Georgia Tech at 1. You know, we've been on the Georgia Tech train all year. Let's see. My ACC rankings, I'll just wing it. Uh, let's go Pitt at 2. I like what I'm seeing out of Pitt. Tough loss to West Virginia early in the year, but we'll cut them some slack there. They have a different QB, and then we'll go Miami at 3. I still think Miami's the team that none of them really want to play, especially on a neutral site. And then we'll go Louisville at 4, Virginia at 5. I think Virginia, it was an awesome story. They were playing great, but they've been playing with their food for 3-4 weeks. We kind of talked about it, and then Wake Forest beats them. I could see Virginia losing again. And then Duke's still in the hunt, but they're like 5-4. They just lost to UConn. It doesn't make any sense. So I'll put them at, what would that be? 6, 5? They still have a
So
chance,
you have
but they're at the bottom of my rankings.
so you have Miami, even though they have 2 losses in conference, up there.
I was going power rankings more than.
Okay.
It is hard though because it's like how can I put Miami above Louisville? Maybe I'll switch Louisville and Miami just because of that head to head, and Louisville beat
Okay.
them in Miami. It's like what else could you want? But I still think Miami is actually the scariest team of them all.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. I like it. Let's get into some of these games here. I don't know where you want to go first. Do you have one that you're eyeing out?
Yeah, should we go to that Friday spot? Should we go Clemson, Louisville? Kind of start off the week with how we're going to be starting it in that little Friday
Yeah.
night trap game like it's been all year.
Yeah, let's do it. So Clemson going to Louisville. Louisville number 20 coming off a rough loss. Laying 2.5 here. Total of 51.5. Friday night spot. Clemson leads the series 8-1. Louisville coming off a 2024 victory in this matchup. What do you got here first? Start us off.
Yeah, this I'm glad we switched up our picks a little bit where we can now just kind of post our best bets because this game terrifies me. Very weird line. Clemson's only a 2.5 point dog on the road. It's pretty much saying they're a pick 'em if it was a neutral site. I kind of like Clemson plus 2.5 just because it's a Friday game, and the dogs have been hot on Friday. I still think we both know Clemson has talent, and Louisville's maybe reeling a little bit. Give me the Friday magic here. Clemson plus 2.5.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I don't. Yeah, like you said, I don't love either spot on this game here. Louisville coming off an upset by Cal in overtime. Clemson kind of playing for a bowl game at this point. When's the last time Clemson's played for a bowl game is what I'm wondering. Fighting for their lives. I don't know what's going to happen to Dabo. Maybe he just hangs it up, but we'll see. Must win spot for Louisville. Big bounce back spot. It's, in my eyes, an elimination game. You're still alive here to win the ACC. And if you do that, you're in. So you got to win out. And I just think they're still kind of disrespected in the CFP. Like, kind of goes back to what I was saying. Compare the Louisville losses to the Texas losses, and tell me that, like, I don't get it. Like, they're still up there. They still are alive to win the ACC. I know the Dogs have been good on Friday night, but I definitely go Louisville minus the 2.5 here.
All right, yeah, and I am not. I'm staying away from this game in real life.
Me too.
Very, very scary line. Very scary.
Yeah.
Feels like an auto
Don't
lose.
love that spot. You want to work in chronological order here? What's the next game after the Friday game?
That would
9
be
a.m. or
going to
10 a.m.
your
slate?
team. That would be Notre Dame and Pitt.
Notre Dame. Let's go. Number 9, Notre Dame.
So
College game day.
number
Number 22, Pitt. Pitt plus 12.5. Total of 55.5. Notre Dame 50-21 in this series, has won the last 4. I don't know. I mean, there's a whole bunch of analysis on this. The first thing that we got to talk about is Narduzzi. Press conference earlier in the week saying that he doesn't care if they lose by 100 to Notre Dame, as long as they win the next 2. He thinks they're good. What do you think of that? That's crazy.
I think we're always asking coaches to be more honest in their interview. He shot way too far over the fence. Maybe a little too honest there. But I was also thinking, is it kind of a reverse psychology play on his team? Like, don't build this up to be more than it is. Everything's still in front of us. I don't love the quote though. If you're a Pitt fan, just being like, we'll lose by 100. It's fine. All we care about is our
Yeah, I don't think it's ever appropriate to go out and just publicly say you're fine with losing as a head coach, because you're paid to win football games. But yeah, definitely interesting there. I mean, I obviously I go Notre Dame minus the 12.5. I don't love it. I do think that this is probably a tough spot for Notre Dame. Maybe a tester spot. It's the last kind of game of the year where you get a 7-2 team. They're not horrible. They're a ranked team, and you're going on the road to their house. Pitt's got nothing to lose. This is like Narduzzi said. It's not a conference game. Just go out and play football, and whatever happens, happens. So I don't love. I think it will be a good. Notre Dame's going to have to play tough to win this football game and cover.
Yeah, this is. I'm staying away from the spread on this one because I agree. I can see both worlds where Notre Dame comes out and thumps them, like Narduzzi said, wins by 100, or Pitt hangs tough. I'm actually going to go with the over 55.5 on this game. Ever since Pitt has started playing Mason Heinschel, I believe. Don't quote me on that pronunciation. But Pitt scored 30-plus games in every game with him playing QB. And then we know Notre Dame's offense. I think Notre Dame's defense has really improved. I was looking at their schedule. They only gave up to 24 to USC, and that's the most they've given up since Purdue, I believe. So they seem to be turning the corner there. Feels like 2 good QBs, 2 good offenses. Give me the over 55.5. Also, I checked solid weather, 16 cloudy.
Perfect. Love it. Love it. Do we have anything else in the 10 o'clock slate on Saturday?
Let's see. I'm looking here. No, but we do have a loaded 1:30 slate. Good God, 3 games in the 1:30 spot that we have noted
All
down.
right, let's get into the first
Should we
one.
go? Yeah. Take your pick. They're all good.
What about Iowa USC? Is that 1:30?
Yep, let's do it. Iowa and USC.
All right. Number 21, Iowa, going to University of Southern Cal. Number 17, Iowa catching 6.5 here. Total of 49.5. USC leads it 7-3, and Iowa won the last one in 2019. I think this is an elimination game for USC. From here on out, USC must win. They have Oregon next week, then UCLA. So, brutal 3 games to end the season, especially with UCLA turning the corner and it just being a rivalry game in general. It will always have juice. But if they can win these next 3 games, they're in the playoff, I think, no matter what, really. And then Iowa coming off a horrible defeating loss to Oregon in the rain. Probably no CFP hopes anymore with the 3 losses. But they're a good team. Iowa is a good team. And another really tough game to pick here in my eyes. But I'm going to go USC minus the 6.5. I don't have it. I'm not placing it, but that's my pick for the game. I just think that, maybe they have a little life here towards the end. They still played Notre Dame tough for the most part until late in the game. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go USC minus the 6.5.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I like USC minus 6.5. I will be placing this. We'll be talking about it later in the show. Just looking at the 2 teams, I think both USC and Iowa are completely different teams at home versus how they are on the road. Iowa's last road game was October 11th. So it's been over a month since they've been on the road. And the road games have been Iowa State, Rutgers, and Wisconsin. So they really haven't been tested. I know Iowa State beat them and was a lot better earlier in the year, but they haven't played a tough road game in the Big Ten. And USC at home, they've scored 31 points in every single game. So I really like USC here. Feels like their speed's better at home. It's just, I know Iowa played Oregon so tough, but that was just an Iowa game in Iowa. And it feels like USC is going to try to spread them out and make them uncomfortable. And if USC puts up 30, I don't think there's any way that Iowa State or Iowa, AirPod down, can keep up with that.
The one thing to note on this game is it is going to be raining pretty hard. It sounds like it's 80% chance of rain pretty much throughout the entire game, which probably works in Iowa's favor with USC being such an air raid team. But yeah, you noted the speed. That's how you beat Iowa's speed. I thought Oregon would be able to do it a little bit better, but they didn't. You're right. Last week felt like an Iowa week. So USC in this spot for sure. We are on the same side,
yeah,
which is scary.
Yeah, Big Ten Network for this team too. Didn't even get onto a national channel here.
Wait, so does YouTube TV have Big Ten Network?
Thank God YouTube TV does have Big Ten Network, because Big Ten Network is technically a Fox network. I was going to put YouTube TV on the hot seat last week. I forgot. YouTube TV is on my hot seat, and guess what? I am the athletic director, so I can fire you. I can go to Fubo. I can go to Sling. Your seat's warming up. It's blazing hot. I'm just like Brian Kelly, preseason hot. You're not fired yet, but it seems inevitable at this point unless you turn shit around.
Yeah, turn this ship around. Let's get goddamn ESPN back on YouTube TV. Let's get all of our channels. It was great. We talked about it. The Pocket Jacks podcast needs to come up with its own platform where you get 10 channels. You get a remote with a TV. It's got 10 buttons on it, and it's just all college football, NFL football, everything that you need for the fall. We got you covered. We'll call it the autumn package with leaves and everything. It'll be great. Hit us up, TV providers, for big contract. Doesn't take much.
We'll be fair in negotiations.
Yeah. Let's see. What do
That
we
being
got in the 130
ACC.
slate?
Should we go a little Virginia Duke action? A little
Virginia
seeing
Duke.
a little pocket jacks system play slang here. Don't know if we're gonna be on it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love this game. This is exciting. You have Virginia, number 19, going to Duke. Duke laying 5.5, total of 57.5, calling for points. Virginia won in 2023 and leads at 41-34. Both teams coming off a loss, but both teams still alive to win the ACC. This is a huge game for the ACC here. Duke obviously 5-4, but one loss in the ACC. They're still alive. Loser of this game's out. This is a complete elimination game. It's crazy to say that Duke is still alive at this point, but they are. And what do you think, Jack? I mean, do you like a side here?
Yeah, I this game's a tough one, and it's crazy to me that Duke is still alive. But like you said, they 100% are. I think I'm just going to go Duke because it's our system. It's the ranked team playing at the unranked team. Duke's kind of been a Vegas darling because like they've not been great against the spread. And then the other thing is Virginia's QB got knocked out last week against Wake Forest. Sounds like he's going to be back, but I think we know that means he's not going to be 100%. Feels like Duke kind of comes onto the scene here, maybe wins big, and the Virginia story peters off a little towards the end of the season. So give me Duke -3.5.
Yeah, I love it. I had that same thing. He's a seventh-year starting quarterback for them. Left the game early, playing only 5, 6, 7 snaps. I think it was concussion, so I don't know what the college concussion protocol is like, but if it's anything like the NFL, then he'll be playing. Big games take a factor into concussion protocol. It doesn't matter if you pass the test or not, you can still play. And then the high total makes me think Duke. I think that UVA last week was kind of a must win for them. I don't know if there's. I just think that it only gets harder from here with Duke and what you got. And then UVA's played a lot of close games this year. So I like Duke at home here in this spot. I think it's a really good get up spot for them, and they still got life to win. So Duke, all day.
I think we're reading that game the same way, which is terrifying. Terrifying.
Yeah.
I just.
But it is the system play, like you
All right.
said. The unranked team playing against the ranked team favored. I don't know why, but seems like Vegas knows.
Yeah, it's been our system, and it's about the one thing that's treated us consistently pretty well throughout the season. I know we've had a loser here and there on it, but listen to Vegas. Vegas knows what it's talking about, and I'm listening on this.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm going to bet it or not, though, in real life.
Yep, I agree. Let's see what do we got here.
All right. We got OU and Alabama at 1:30 on the ABC slot, following up the Pitt Notre Dame.
Yeah, this one is going to be great. This is probably my favorite. Georgia, Texas is up there as well for my favorite, but this one's going to be awesome. Low total here, 45.5. Bama laying 5.5 here at home, hosting the 11th seed Oklahoma. Oklahoma leads the series, shockingly, 4-2. And
Wow.
Oklahoma won last year, so maybe a little revenge spot for Bama here and that. But elimination spot for Oklahoma here. They are desperate, and they still have LSU and Missouri left on the schedule. So this is an absolute must-win. Two not easy opponents coming down the stretch for OU. Their defense has been great. Great D-line, good pass defense. Offense has looked a little iffy ever since the Mateer injury. But they're coming off a bye, and the total being so low makes me think Oklahoma. I think with a low total here, you don't get the like. I don't know if it was 57, I would say Alabama blows them out, and wins by 14. But the fact that it's 45, and I don't think there's any weather, makes me lean Oklahoma here. I also think them coming off a bye, an extra week for Mateer's hand. Uh, Maybe he's turning the corner a little bit on that. We will see. But I kind of like Oklahoma in this spot. I think Alabama gets it done because they are just so good at home. At this point, they're the best team at home in college football. I think Bama gets it done, but I think Oklahoma sticks around. So I'm going to go Oklahoma plus the 5.5.
Okay, well, we're on opposite sides here, and I do like a lot of the things you said. Oklahoma, complete gauntlet coming down the stretch here with Bama and then Mizzou and LSU. But like you said, I think you're right. Alabama is the best team at home. They're undefeated at home, and they're undefeated against the spread at home. This only being 5.5, I think I'm going to jump back on the Alabama train. Oklahoma beat Tennessee. I feel like that was a little bit more of an indictment on Tennessee than Oklahoma. Still a great win for them on the road. It just, I don't know. This is a tough game for me. And Oklahoma's offense, I just am worried they're going to have a tough time keeping up with Ty Simpson and Bama at this point. So give me Alabama minus 5.5. One of us is going to win this one.
Yeah, yeah. I think I'm in. Yeah, we'll see. That'll be a fun one. I don't know, man. It's weird that the Oklahoma leads this series 4-2. I first of all didn't know that they played 7 times. They've tied one, but shocking.
Yeah. And the thing you mentioned too, that Oklahoma pretty much eliminated Alabama last year, if you remember. It was late in the season.
Yeah,
Oklahoma was not good. Alabama went to Oklahoma and Oklahoma thumped them. It wasn't like some little win. I think it was 24-3 at one point. I see
no,
Bama
yeah.
fans complaining about the refs from that game last year. I'm like, come on, just blow it.
It
There's no
was
21-point penalty.
it was an ass whooping for sure, and it factored into the college football playoff last year. But holy smokes, that was a maybe a little revenge spot for Bama here. Like I said, I think they win it, but we'll see if
Yeah,
that Oklahoma defense can slow them down at all. I think we're moving
yeah,
on to
it's
the
gonna be a
5
great game.
o'clock slate now. Uh,
Yes, we are.
5:30, I guess. Texas, Georgia, right? Is that correct?
Great game. That's correct. Yep, second to last game here.
Perfect. Texas going on the road. Number 10 going to the Dogs. Number 5. Georgia laying 5.5 here. Another low-ish total, 48.5 here. Texas leads this series 4-3, but if you can remember right, Georgia won the last two, and the last two were both last year, where Texas lost to UGA in Austin, and then in the SEC championship as well. So, I mean, Georgia has kind of owned them. I know Texas leads the series, but Georgia kind of owns them in this matchup as far as the modern era of football ever since they've been joining the SEC. Texas and Arch are playing better. The defense has stepped up for Texas. They look pretty good. I don't think that Georgia defense is really all that. But I just love Georgia, man. I mean, Texas, if you look at Texas's last 2 games on the road, it was
Yep,
Kentucky and, oh gosh,
Mississippi
another
State.
not, what was that?
It was Mississippi State.
Okay, yeah, and they both went to overtime. And so I don't love Texas on the road. I think Georgia at home I mean, they had the best record in college football for a long time up until earlier this year when we talked about it earlier on the show. And I've taken Georgia a few times this year and they've burned me, but I'm going back to them and I absolutely love them in this spot. Georgia minus 5.5. I just think that they're kind of the big brother to Texas here, and I don't trust Arch still. I know he's turning the corner and he's a solid college quarterback, but I don't trust him enough to go on the road where they've struggled the last few weeks and compete in a top 10 matchup with a team as talented as Georgia here. So Georgia minus the 5.5. Another thing to note: this is a great Jersey matchup here.
Great, great TV watch. I love that call out. I got a wild stat for you here. Kind of talks about Texas A&M, but Texas has been in the SEC for 18 months, and they have played Georgia 3 times. Texas A&M has been in the SEC for 14 years, and they've played Georgia once. So in a year and a half, Texas has played Georgia 2 more times, and Texas A&M has played them in the last 12. The other thing
Making it
that
a
I saw in this
rivalry.
game, this is right? It kind of is a rivalry at this point. And then the other thing I saw, this is Texas's first time ever playing at Georgia. So they've never been between the hedges, as they like to say down there. I know the dogs are going to be barking. We're going to have some dudes painted red in the front row with their shoulder pads with the spikes going up. I also love Georgia here. I wrote down the same thing. I saw Texas on the road this year has lost to Ohio State, lost to Florida, beat Mississippi State and Kentucky in overtime. So they haven't been good on the road at all. Coming into the season, like we talked about, we pretty much had the same call on this. Georgia was amazing at home. Alabama beats them, kind of breaks their streak, but I like Georgia a lot here, minus 5.5.
Yeah, I do too. This is great. And the fact that you bring that up is kind of funny because I had written down like my comparison with Texas Georgia right now is it's similar to Notre Dame Ohio State. We've played them like 3 times in the last 2 years, and we've lost to them every single time. And I think Texas fans dislike Georgia like we dislike Ohio State. They always beat us. They're always good big games that they're just exciting, and I think that this matchup is kind of the same way in that sense.
Yeah, no, this is a night game too. This is a great night game. You called it great uniform matchup. This is just aesthetically pleasing to a college football fan, this game.
This is going to be fantastic. Georgia, we're on the same side again here. We both love it. Minus the 5.5. Let's see what we got here. What is next on the slate? We've got a couple night games,
here.
correct?
Little TCU. I think we're on our last game here. I think we got TCU and BYU going Pac-12 after dark slot.
Yeah, I love it. Another great game. Little weird spread here. BYU only laying 5.5, I think was the last number I saw, but this could be moving. 52.5 total. TCU leads the series 7-5, and their win streak is 5 in a row. So huge revenge spot for BYU coming into this. BYU coming off a huge loss to Texas Tech where they didn't look good, but I still think that defense is pretty good for BYU. Their offense is not all that great, but they're at home, at night, at elevation. Give me BYU big here. Huge bounce back spot to stay alive in that Big 12 talk.
I like it. Fun part about this game, this is a throw way back. Used to be a big old rivalry in the WAC when TCU, BYU, and Utah were the 3 teams in the WAC. TCU was never in the Mountain West from my knowledge, but this used to be kind of the big game to see who would win that conference. I love that this game is a late spot. One of these teams is going to be blacked out with their uniforms. BYU needs a big bounce back spot. But you know what? So does TCU. They just lost at home against Iowa State, who's really been reeling. And I'm looking at BYU last year. They started off super strong, and then they fell off. I don't think that's going to happen to this year's BYU team. So I also like BYU, minus 5.5. This is a no bet for me. This is a no. Stay away. Don't like this game at all. But give me BYU for the pod.
Yeah. All right. I like it. That was the last game of the slate that we had for you. Now we want to get into our best bets, where last week I went 2-1 and Jack went 1-2. We're going to keep a running total for these, and we're excited about this. This is more winners. It feels like I'm a little scared this week because now that I'm looking at it, all three or all four, including my lock, are teams minus the points, which feels wrong. So we're gonna still rock with it, and maybe we can go 2-2. But now that I look at it, this isn't a good formula. So especially in college sports, where the upset is always fucking primed up and ready to come slap you in the face when you least expect it.
Yeah, no, the
Do you,
best bets. We were both so excited about it, not having to pick. I mean, we both said it when we were talking about the card, just not having to be obligated to make a pick on those are great. But I can kick off with my best bets. Um, I have four written down right now. I'm going to compile it into three for the post, but I like Alabama minus 5.5. I've been riding them hard this year. I think they're going to keep it rolling at home. I like Georgia minus 5.5 for the reasons we just said a couple games ago. Texas not great on the road. Georgia pretty tough at home. The third one that I have listed is the Notre Dame Pitt over 55.5. I just think we got two great QBs there. And then the one that I right now have listed as an honorable mention, but it might end up being one of my best bets is Duke minus 3.5. With that being a system play, it feels like it is the perfect system play, but Duke's also really scaring me this year. So 3 out of the 4 of those are going to be my best bets, but it will come from that group.
okay, I like it. Lots of SEC there for you. I'm pretty spread out here. Got one being Duke -4 at home. I think it's a great spot for them, and I just love them there. System jack play. Number two, BYU -4.5 at elevation at night. Absolutely massive bounce back spot. I still trust them here, and TCU winning the last five. I I just think that it's going to be a tough environment in Provo. Really love BYU there. And then three, Georgia -5.5 for everything we talked about earlier. This is Georgia at night. Texas is the little brother to Georgia. Georgia at home is great, and I love them here. I think it's going to be kind of a muck it up game. I don't really trust Arch that much either. I don't really love either of these quarterbacks. I could see the under hitting pretty easily here. So yeah, those are the three best bets that I had there. Moving on to my lock. Went off card here for the lock, and I'm going to Arizona versus Cincinnati. Cincinnati at home, Nippert Stadium, laying 6, total of 56.5. Arizona's bowl eligible now with a comeback win against Kansas last week. Cincy's 7-2, but they haven't been all that glamorous. But they're at home here. I think it's a get up spot for them. They have BYU next week, so must win here. And then they're coming off a loss 2 weeks ago, had a bye. Now they have home team. Cincy minus the 6. I love them in this spot.
All right. I like it. Cincy, and I'm going back for my lock. I'm going back to a team that I have hit many times. They burned me in one lock, got me in another. I'm going back to USC minus 6.5. I like them against Iowa. That Iowa game kind of felt like a kitchen sink against Oregon. And like I said earlier, Iowa just hasn't played on the road or really played anybody on the road. So give me USC minus 6.5. My lock is on fire, dude. 6 in a row. It's crazy.
Yeah, you're I think 2 full wins ahead of me now. I'm sitting right at 500. So USC
And then,
in the rain.
yeah, in the rain, Lincoln Riley dialing up some horizontal stuff, going to outspeed Iowa. And then for my dog, I kind of actually like my dog. It's not a huge spread. It's not a big value play or anything, but give me Boise State night game plus 120 on the road against San Diego State. San Diego State lost to the Cougs early, got really hot, and then got smoked by Hawaii last week. I believe that game was in Hawaii. I still think Boise State is kind of the daddy of the Mountain West. and it's only right for them to win the Mountain West in their last season. So give me Boise State plus 120 is my dog here to win outright.
I love it. That's nice. I went big again here with the dog. Uh, and I went to a spot with, we talked about it earlier. We both have them as our 12. South Florida taking on Navy. I still think South Florida wins this conference and ends up getting in the playoff, but I like Navy. At home here, 10.5 point dog, plus I think 315 on the money line, something like that. South Florida has wins over Boise and Florida. Byron Brown looks great. This South Florida offense can score points. But that being said, Navy is coming off a bad loss, now going back home with playoff hopes very much still alive for Navy, as far-fetched as it may be. They are leading the American Conference, and they sat Horvath last week against Notre Dame. I think that's because not a conference game. They're kind of pulling a pit. Who cares if we win? We still have our everything we need to do ahead of us. I think this was a design for him to get healthy, come back this week. I think they win this game. I don't know why. I think they slow it down. I know the total is 65.5, but I think they slow this down, make it a low possession game, and really hang in there with South Florida. Now, I could be really wrong, but we're shooting for the damn sky with my underdog this week. Navy, money line, midshipman.
I mean, we got to shout you out because we were giving you crap about your dog. You hit one last week, and now it's only you're only one game back. So everything's still alive in our standings. And let's be honest, the American has been delivering upset after upset after upset each week.
Yep, that's right. That American Conference is very fun and very similar to the ACC, where they are just beating up on each other. I absolutely love it.
All right. Well, what are we thinking for our parlay? I did have an idea that I was going to bounce off, but maybe you had an idea.
Go, you could
I was
shoot your
thinking we
idea
go-
first.
I was thinking we go a four-legger, one money line out of each of the Power Four conferences. Like I take SEC and Big 12, you take Big 10 and ACC or whatever it may be.
Oh, okay. Okay. I like it.
You got
Let me pull up
you got any other thoughts?
4 leg money line, one from each conference.
Yep.
All right. Yep, I'm
All
down.
right, I'll
You want to
go
lead us off?
ACC.
You just take whatever
Yeah,
you
I'll
want.
start in the
Start.
ACC. Let's go. I'll go ACC, and I'll go Duke minus the 4.5 money line, or they are minus 4.5, but I'm taking the money line for our parlay.
Okay. I like it. Let's see
Where are you
here.
going? I'll have you go next.
Oh, love this spot. I actually have this as a side bet. Uh, I would take the spread, but we're going money lines. Michigan money line. I know they're huge favorites, but I mean,
I like it.
let's go there. I love them.
I like it. That's the thing. With four legs, we can take a little bit more juice. Let's
Well,
see here.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Never mind.
Take a little less juice, I guess would be the right way to actually say it. God, Big 12. I mean, do you want to go Cincy money line? I know that's your lock, so I don't want to force you to double up. If you know what, screw that. Let's go Arizona State. They're playing West Virginia at home. They're only a 10.5 point favorite, so it should be fair enough. That's a long travel spot for West Virginia. I know ASU hasn't been quite what we thought they were going to be. They're still a whole lot better than West Virginia.
Sweet. And then let's go to something that we haven't really talked about for the SEC, just so we're not relying on too much, since we have 2 big SEC games that we both will be watching and probably have something on. Let's go to LSU, Arkansas. I want to have something on this game. So what do you like here?
All right.
It's a muck it
We
up.
didn't
I
talk
mean,
about this.
just a brutal.
Nussmeier got benched against Alabama. They might just be going Van
Yeah.
Buren. Should we just go LSU? New juice?
Yeah, I mean, why not? What time is this? It's 10:45. I mean, sure, let's go LSU. Why not?
All right. So let's see. Let me write this down before we forget.
I
So we had
I just wrote it down.
Michigan. Okay. Arizona State and LSU and Duke. All right.
One more thing.
We are
How are you feeling
okay.
about Michigan Northwestern being on a baseball field?
Oh, are they playing this at Wrigley?
Yeah.
That's an interesting spot. I mean, let's be honest. Northwestern hardly playing on much of a football field at all, with them playing right on the lake. So I like it. Wouldn't want to go to it. Be weird
Yeah, the
watching.
seats
It'll be fun.
seats
What do
are
you think
brutal.
about it?
I don't know. I mean, I like it. It's a change. I don't know. Not much, but I like Michigan. I know that.
All right. Let's have a great week. Let's get hot. Go Cougs.
Let's go. Go Irish.